So if you have a chance, download the Golden Ratio Guide, which is in Adobe Illustrator, and there's also a JPEG of it. But open up the Adobe Illustrator, you can go ahead and take these already created Golden Ratio circles. That's what we're going to use for this lesson of the class. Or if you decided to draw your own Golden Ratio with the methods we used previously, even better. So I'm going to just open up a new document, and we're going to paste those in here. I already have it kind of loaded and ready to go. And these already still have their strokes on it, so I can toggle fill, which is going to be really important for what we're going to do in a second. And so I have a lot of people ask me, well, how do you create shapes and begin to know how to create animal shapes or any kind of shapes using the Golden Ratio when I just have a blank canvas? How do I go about the creative process of figuring that out? The next lesson or two is going to go through that process of how I could take reference photos and find ideas, how I can do rough drawings and be able to take the Golden Ratio circles to create better shapes for those drawings. But first I'm going to show you kind of some great cheat kind of ways that you can make logos a lot quicker using the Golden Ratio. You can increase and decrease the size of your circles together, but you can never take one circle and make it bigger because then it'll mess up the balance of the ratio. So whenever you increase the circle or one of the circles, make sure you do them all the same amount so that ratio always stays the same. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be my main guide, so I'm copying and pasting from here. So I'm just going to take a couple of circles. It's going to take 3 circles, and I'm just going to copy and paste it. And anytime I need a certain size, I'll just kind of copy and paste it over here and start working on that particular piece. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. So with the Golden Ratio, there's something really cool. So let's say I'm going to take this middle one right here. I'm going to create a donut with a bite taken out. Well, I want to make the donut and the bite taken out according to the Golden Ratio. So I just have these 2 Golden Ratio circles, and that'll make the donut. And let's say I want to take a bite out of it. Take a big bite out of it right there. And so how do we kind of cut all this out? I'm going to go ahead and select it all. I'm going to take the Shape Builder tool, and also I can toggle on fill so I can see it a little bit better. And get the Shape Builder tool, I'm going to hold down Option. I can subtract all sorts of shapes out. And just like that, I kind of create a little donut. We can create a couple other things as well. So just for another example, let's say I just copied and pasted this set of circles, and let's create a little snowman. So this will be the bottom of the snowman, and we can overlap if we wanted to. Okay, these can be the buttons. So I'm just going to hold down Option. This is a Golden Ratio snowman, just to kind of show you how I use the Shape Builder tool to quickly cut and subtract objects. I'm just going to align all that. Align my circles. Okay, so what I would do is I'd go ahead and toggle everything to a fill. Get my Shape Builder tool. I would add all of these together. Okay, and now I'd select everything. Shape Builder tool, I'd hold down Option to get my subtraction. And there's our little Golden Ratio snowman. And of course we can always make adjustments to that. So let's say we already have an object in mind. Let's say a bird. We want to have a bird for a symbol or a logo or an icon. And we want to go ahead and create that. So what I like to do, I have a lot of students struggle and they go, okay, I have these circles. So let's say they just take a couple circles and they're trying to build a bird out of it, and they're just kind of a little bit confused about how they draw the shape. What I like to do is I like to draw a rough version sketch of the bird and then use the Golden Ratios to come up with the curves and the bends. And you could do the same thing with a photo, just some kind of reference photo to help guide you. So I'm going to just draw this really rough looking bird sketch. So I'm just going to kind of just have the pen tool. Just a rough looking bird, doesn't have to be anything brilliant, because the Golden Ratio is really going to help you out here. There's our little bird, not too exciting. And we're going to take a couple of these circles here and go ahead and find the right curves for our shape. So wherever you kind of see curves, and let's go ahead and make this a different color so we can kind of differentiate a little bit. So wherever you see curves, you can use that opportunity to kind of find your shapes. And I'm just going to copy and paste from my master Golden Ratio over there. And what it's really great for is heads. So see how that's really, really close? That size I chose is really close to the head. So now I know kind of when I'm going to go back and smooth that head out to match the Golden Ratio circle. And then now we can start getting some smaller ones to help us with particular areas. So just continuing to use kind of some shapes to get a good idea of the curves to use. Okay, so now what we could do is we can start to adapt some of these curves. So I'm selecting our bird shape and getting our curvature tool and just kind of matching it. We're going to do this a lot in our logo example we're going to do for the class. See, now there's going to be like a curve to the beak, and we can use our golden ratio to kind of figure out what that curve is going to be exactly. Maybe we could use our bigger one, kind of see if we get a curve. That's a pretty close match. So now we can get a good idea of the curve for that. And we could even get find something to really get that curve going. So let's get a smaller one and see if that matches pretty good right about there. And then it just helps us really get our curves correct and have some kind of direction for where to take these curves and bends. And so when it gets a little bit busy, you can go ahead and make everything a little bit smaller in terms of the path. And you can also reduce the transparency because sometimes when it gets a little bit busy. And a lot of these may not end up being used. So if I don't end up using maybe this one down here, you don't necessarily have to keep it around. I'm just going to keep the ones that you're actually using in the design to help you create the shape. So this body right here, I can extend this body out a little bit if I wanted to. Or I can take a smaller circle shape and I can match that. Just getting the curvature tool, bring that down. See how I kind of match that curve right there? You kind of see a much better bird shape kind of coming along. And right here we could find something for that little curve here to find out where that should go. We could just get maybe the bigger one. Get a nice big curve there, right about there. You can start to see these intersecting lines, and these are opportunities to make certain shapes. And so we'll get to that a little bit when we do more complex shapes, where we start to find shapes within overlapping circles. And you'll see a lot of examples. I'm going to show you another example of someone, another talented designer who takes all these circles and finds opportunities in the overlapping parts of the circle to find shapes. So right there, there's an opportunity to do that. And also this bend, we can maybe even